Well, what is going on, gang? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. It is very nice to have you here today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I have a CKF on the table. This is the Persian, so named by Peter Rassenti, the designer. Rassenti's been around for a long time. He's designed a bunch of knives. This is one of my favorites of his. CKF makes high-quality, high-end knives. His design is very suited to their build quality, and here we are. What do you get? Well, you get an M390 blade, you get an integral titanium design, you get comes stock with this really lovely timascus pocket clip. It is, in short, a superb knife. Now, it is flipper deployed, right? These are not studs. These are blade stops. And they rest perfectly against this little outcrop of titanium right there. You get jimping on the thumb ramp, but your thumb fits perfectly down this way. It does have a really large sharpening choil that you can get your finger in. I would recommend, if you've got hands like mine, which are relatively large, that you don't do that. You can do it in a pinch, but it's just about too small, like you're right on the edge. So that's up to you. Shape of the handle is exceptionally comfortable. As you can see, it's milled along all the edges, right? So it's nice and good in hand. It's got a steel lock bar insert, which is important. And as is often the case with integral knives, it's on the outside of the lock bar, because notching that into the inside of the lock bar would be a royal pain in the butt. The cutout to make the lock bar move is on the outside, and that's kind of a bummer. I'll give you an example. By the way, these are between $550, and I got this one for $329 because they're on sale right now, but they usually run about $500. This is a $200 knife from Arcform, and you'll notice that they put the milling on the inside of the lock bar. That means when it is closed, it's a really clean look. Anyway, this is really common. The pocket clip lines up right on that spot, which is okay. But it does make for a bit of a catch sometimes when you're pulling this thing in and out of the pocket. Beyond that, you get a nice thick chunk of this M390. The knife itself is relatively lean. The flipper is low profile and, of course, works beautifully. And I love the trailing point or Persian blade. If you've been watching my channel recently, you saw this not that long ago. This is also a Persian style, right? Trailing point blade. It just goes to show how much variation you can get from a similar blade aesthetic, right? This one's got a ton more belly, right? It's got that almost pistol grip style grip. This one's a lot straighter and narrower. And yet, this is an excellent EDC tool. It's pokey if you need that. Very slicey. It's hollow ground. Now, it has kind of an acid, or excuse me, a stone wash on the flats. I can talk. Look, man, it's been a long day. It's just been a long day. The flats are belt sanded. You can see the work. The blade itself has got this lovely stone wash. The final bevel is very small and yet very sharp. They did an excellent job there. Action is superb. This is just a great pocket knife. It's got a little bit of Damascus, as you can see, around the pivot. Just this side. This side is kind of bare, and of course that's the Rassenti designs. Rassenti designs. Little logo. Sometimes they put the Damascus pivot collar on both sides. Sometimes they don't. Beyond that, it's a pretty standard build. These are... What are these? Let's see if we can find out together. I'm pretty sure these are T8s, sort of all the way around. This is the Bullet V2 from Off Grid. This is an excellent driver. I've been using it since the day I got it. Let's see. This is the T8. Yep. And yeah, Perfect fit. Those are T8s. That is a T10. Now you're going to want to be careful. Taking apart solid piece knives like this, taking apart integrals like this, it's actually fairly easy to do, but getting them back together is a royal pain in the ass because you got to get everything inside there and then get the blade into place. Yep. That is a T10. That was actually kind of loose. Yeah, put an extra little. Now, a couple of things about this knife that you should know before you get it. One, because of the sort of overall narrowness of the handle and the length of the lock bar, I tend to make sure my fingers are back here on the pocket clip. Because if I put them up here, any pressure at all, and it just won't go. So you got to think about it a little bit. And that's not great in a pocket knife. You don't necessarily want to be thinking about where... Yeah, that helped. Thinking about where you put your fingers before you open it. Kershaw makes some knives like this. It happens periodically, particularly on thin handles. You know, on this larger, the Blava, which is not a flipper, but still, right? You can, if you apply pressure, you can make it difficult. But if you just loosen your finger a little bit, it pops easy. In short, keep your finger off the lock bar. Beyond that, the Persian here has been around for a couple of years. I actually borrowed one that came in from Big Bore Knife and Gear, Scott over at Big Bore, and I never got around to reviewing it just because I was in and out of the business at that point. But now that I have an opportunity to own one, I fully understand his love of this knife, and I fully understand everybody else's too. It's just a really nice cutting tool. Let's get some specs out of the way, shall we? Man, that's nice. Okay, let's break out the magic ruler, which, there it is. Okay, so what are we looking at? Well, if we line that up right where it needs to be, you are looking at 3 1/4 inches of cutting on 3 1/2 inches of M390. The grip area from just behind the flipper tab is 4 full inches. So I got about less than 1/2 inch at this end from my hand. So it's really well sorted. From tip to tail, we're coming in at just a little bit over 8 1/2 inches. Is that right? Yeah. A little over 8 1/2 inches. Closed length. So we'll do it this way. It'd probably be easier to get an accurate measurement. You were talking about just shy of 5 inches. I mean, right, just shy of 5 inches. The in-the-pocket profile is pretty lean. It does have a flipper tab, but there's no jimping, so you don't have to worry about banging it on stuff that much. Let's use these. At its thickest, which is right through here, you were looking at, let's do it in inches, 1.36 inches at its widest, 1.18 inches sort of through here. It rides really well. Like it kind of disappears in the pocket, which is really nice. It's not entirely deep carry. As you can see, you got about, what? Well, let's just use this. No. I need better tools for this. You have a little over 1/2 inch of knife sticking out of the pocket. It's not bad, but it's not, it's not deep carry either. At its widest through the handle, which is actually up here, you are looking at just about a little over 1/2 inch. So it's a really nice carry. It is, and it's a pretty knife. Action's very good, as I keep saying. This happens to be number 365. It's got a little jimping on the spine, back here on the spine, just in the heel of the handle, if you're interested in that sort of thing. A place to put your thumb, I suppose, if you were going to give something a really good stab. Don't do that, but you could. Let's weigh it just to see where we fall out. The Persian Now remember, it's integral, so I'm guessing it's going to be, yeah, 5 ounces. Where was the Blava? 4.9. So these are about the same weight. The Blava is bigger in pretty much every regard, but this being an integral means that, you know, these are just slabs of titanium. So that's where the weight comes from. I really like it. I'm glad I got it. If you want one, I'll put a link to NC Blades, which is where I got this one. They're a really nice knife company, fast, prompt. I've never had an issue where I needed customer service, but I have to assume they do a good job. If you want one of these, this excellent bit driver, I'll put a link to this in the description anyway, too. This is an off-grid tool, but it has instantly become my favorite driver. Thank you so much for watching. This is the CKF Peter Rassenti designed Persian, an excellent pocket knife from the folks at CKF, from a great designer. I appreciate your time today. If you have any questions about this, or anything, feel free to ask down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.